If she can keep it all running, keeps it running.
Today we're talking about advice that I think that every woman should hear. When we're in our early years, we always hear, don't be in such a rush to grow up, or make sure that you're living life to the fullest. But what does that even mean? And then bam, you wake up and you're in your 30s and 40s and you're just aimlessly wandering around in life and you have no idea and no direction on what you're doing. So if you were recommended this video, maybe this is the inspiration that you need in order to apply some of these things. This may be for you. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Lee. I love to make videos on fitness, travel, and lifestyle. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that we can be friends. So today I really want to talk about advice for my young 20s, maybe even 30s. But this really can apply to anyone at any stage in your life that you're in. But if you are watching this and you have been blessed enough to make it to your 40s and 50s, you may also find something in this video to be helpful, because I truly believe that sometimes inspiration can come from anywhere. And so who knows, you may be able to leave some comments down below on some advice that you may have that I might not cover in this video. But anyways, I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw this video.
I was 30. If I thought about 50, I thought that is an awful long way away, and I don't really need to think about it. And then I blinked and I'm 50. That's crazy. But I never made it to law school. And I never got to see Paris in the spring, and I never got to stay over in Yellowstone because it was too crowded. Well, no, it's just that I put things off, and I kept putting them off. And I would say, oh, we'll do it next year. And then that next year would come and I'd say, oh, next year. And I don't want to do that anymore.
And when I saw that video, it just made me think, oh my gosh, like, you know, am I living my life to the fullest? Am I taking, you know, the most advantage of the breath that's in my body and making sure that when I make it to, you know, 50, 60, 70, 80, hopefully, will I feel like my life was worth living? Did I make the best out of it? And so I really wanted to make this video for the women who are younger than me, because, you know, each one teach one, and I feel like through my life experiences I have gained knowledge in specific areas, and so I would like to share those for the women that are coming up now. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, you are in the right place, and let's get into it. And so my first tip of advice is to make sure that you really invest in some really solid friends. And so I don't know where we got into this stage where it's, I don't have no girlfriends, I don't want no new friends, I don't deal with women. Like, when I hear that, I feel really sad because I have some really, really good women in my life who have really helped me through some tough times. And I think that it's really important to make sure that you invest in your friendships. I feel like, you know, women, we get a bad rap sometimes because I know y'all seen it, where y'all see the tweet that's like, girl, make sure that you forgive that friend like you forgive that man. And I think that that is so true. For whatever reason, people don't like to confront conflict, and it's just so much easier. And I would say that this, you know, applied to me definitely in my earlier years, where it's just so easier to have my feelings hurt and then just walk away. Where, you know, prior to therapy, y'all, and that's another thing, make sure that you invest in some therapy, but we'll get there. So prior to therapy, whenever I would have a conflict with friends or relationships, or y'all, sometimes even family, I was just, y'all, they would be dead to me. They would be dead to me, and I would just wipe my hands clean, and I wouldn't work on resolving that issue like at all. And so after therapy or post-therapy me, I really have begun to realize how important it is to, you know, address conflict, address differences in your friendship, relationships, family relationships, and just actually try to work it out. And so since realizing that, y'all, I have dug so deep into my friendships. I have really, really solid friendships, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So don't be afraid to have that disagreement and then actually work on compromising and addressing the differences. Because to be honest, y'all, those friends are gonna be the one that shows up for you when you're going through like a horrible breakup. Or, you know, those friends are gonna be the ones that show up for you when you're experiencing the best moments in your life and you're getting married and you're having your first child. And they're organizing the meal trains for you because you just come off of a C-section. Like, Your friends are gonna ride or die for you, and it's just really, really important to make sure that you're investing in some really solid friendships. The earlier, the better. And honestly, at this stage of my life, in my mid-30s, my friends are some of my biggest supporters, and I know that I'm some of their biggest supporters as well. So I definitely think that that is a great experience, and I hope that you all are able to experience that as well. And so advice number 2 is to make sure that you are saving some money, y'all. And so as you progress later in life, I swear it just seems like the bills just get more expensive, the things that you want just get more expensive. And so the earlier that you start saving, the better it is for you. But please best believe that there is no right way to do it, and there's never too late of a time to start saving. So whether you are in your 20s, whether you're watching this in your 60s, it is always a great time to start saving and investing your money. And so one of the reasons why I think that this is so important is no one is coming to save you. Not your friend, not your man, not your kids, not your mama. No one is going to be responsible for you like you're going to be responsible for you. So you really truly have to leave it up to yourself to make sure that you're taken care of. And I know that there are some situations where, you know, you may have an agreement with a spouse, or you may have an agreement with, you know, a parental figure where you provide some type of service and then they might actually financially provide a service to you. But it's always a great idea to make sure that you have your own in case something falls through. You never know what's gonna happen. And so one of the things that my mom instilled in me at a very young age is that you should always have some mad money. It don't matter what you're doing, where you at, who you relying on, you should always have some money in your account that can get you out of a tough situation. And so if you're watching this and you want to save but you just don't know how, or you are saving but you just want to take it to the next step, y'all, I make videos basically all about that. And not only do I have a channel, but there are tons of other channels of people here on YouTube whose platform is truly built to helping people get better with their finances. Here are some of my favorites that you guys can check out as well. Tip number 3 is to make a plan and say no to anything that does not align with that vision. Because if you don't have a plan, you will say yes to things that take you and pull you into different directions that have nothing to do with the insight and what your end goal is. So it's definitely important to make a plan and to write that plan down. Because when you write that plan down, you begin to visualize the steps that you need to take. You begin to have specific things that, you know, you're working towards. It's a whole lot easier to say yes to things when you have no direction. So make a plan, write it down, stick to it, and ask yourself, is this in line with my goals? Is this in line with my vision? And so 4th on the list of advice that I have for women out there is to make sure you are taking care of your body. And I know we always hear that, and you always feel like you have time. Like when you're in your 20s, you feel like, oh, I'll start working out and doing this in my 30s. When you're in your 30s, you get bogged down by, you know, having a family, having a significant other, or maybe work is super stressful and you just put it on the back burner some more. And then you're in your 40s and you're looking back at your 20s and 30s and you wish you would have done those things to take better care of your body. So some things that you can do in order to take care of your body is to make sure that you're drinking enough water. And so consuming enough water just flushes out all of the toxins in your body. It makes you have clearer skin. It lubricates those muscles. It's easier to get out the bed, y'all. Making sure that you're drinking enough water will just make your life so much easier as you age. Another thing that you can do to take care of your body is to just make sure that you're eating healthy. Like, ask yourself, when is the last time that you had a vegetable? And if you can't remember the last time that you had a vegetable, then you're not eating right. Or if the last time that you had a vegetable was the lettuce that was on that cheeseburger last night, then you're probably not taking as much care of your body as you could be. And so what does that look like? And so maybe you can challenge yourself to, you know, meatless Mondays. Or you can have 1 or 2 nights a week where it's highly vegetarian focused or it's pescatarian focused. And you're just trying to just, you know, slowly wean yourself off, because I know it's not easy, y'all. But you can just slowly try to wean yourself off red meat, or at least, you know, decrease the amount that you're eating. Taking care of your body may also look like, you know, working out a couple days a week. And it doesn't have to be no, you know, serious strength training, or y'all know I like running half marathons. You don't have to become a half marathoner or a runner like all the girls are doing right now. But taking better care of your body could just be, you know, going for a walk after dinner a couple nights a week. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. And y'all, in the 21st century, I love how far women have come with women independence, women autonomy, and just having more positive control over our own bodies. I love that for us. But one thing that I want to say that I'm not sure if other people are going to tell y'all, but be picky. Be picky with who you share your body with. Be picky with who you have children with. Be picky with who you create soul ties with. I feel like in, you know, women gaining more control over our bodies and just having, you know, centuries really of just being owned by other people. But I feel like we as women have reached so far into control over our own bodies as an excuse to be promiscuous. And by all means, you can do whatever you want with your body, but there are consequences to that. There are consequences to having a lot of sexual partners. There are consequences to sleeping with people you barely know. And so this is just advice from one woman to another, that you deserve to be selective. You deserve to have that control over your body and to be picky with who you share your life with, picky with who you share your bed with, picky with who you decide to raise children with. And so I just give that little nugget of advice for you guys, because with sex comes great responsibility and you deserve the right to take care of your body. And so minimizing the number or amount of sexual partners you have is also a form of taking care of your body. So I'll just leave y'all with that. That doesn't mean that you're not woke. That doesn't mean that you're not progressive. But I'm not sure when we started associating casual sex with being progressive or being woke. I'm not sure when the two made a connection. And so I just wanted to put that perspective out there. I don't know when that perspective became the far left perspective. And so I just wanted to tell y'all, in case you haven't heard it from anybody else, you know, it is completely fine to take care of yourself in that way. Tip number 5, which is last but truly not least, is y'all, please stop obsessing over these timelines that you make up in your head that you use to drive you crazy. It is not worth it. There is no time frame in which you have to complete life by, y'all. Like that, saying that out loud, like that sounds crazy. And I definitely know that I have fell victim to that, definitely in my early 20s, mid 20s, y'all, even late 20s. And I feel like it took me stepping into my 30s and stepping into adulthood, stepping into womanhood, where I really started to realize that those timelines that I had of, like, you know, getting married by 25, I want to have kids by this, I want to buy a house by this, none of that matters. Those were all restrictions that I put on myself. Those are restrictions that I let society put onto me that didn't mean anything. And I didn't hit those milestones, and y'all, nothing bad happened. Like, I'm still thriving, I'm still enjoying my life, and I'm not stressed out about these random time frames that I put on myself. I think that that is one of the biggest pieces of advice, because as you age, you start to realize what is important and what really isn't important. And so as life progresses, if you have these pre-notioned milestones that you want to have, you're going to start cherry picking different things that are going to fit that timeline that may not fit what's best for you. So, you know, I would hate for you to try to hurry up and, you know, pick any man instead of the right man, just so that you can get married by a certain age or keep up with your friends and, you know, have kids and do all the things. So I definitely feel like it's more important to just live life as it comes and stop being so stressed out about hitting milestones that you made up. Now, I'm not saying don't have goals. Like, you can definitely have time-based goals, but let them be something that you can control. Don't make these random milestones that are completely out of your control. You have no idea when you're gonna meet your man. You have no idea when you're gonna get married. It takes 2 people to get married. You have no idea, you know, when you're gonna have kids. I mean, I know that there's a lot of ways that you can have your own kids, right? But I'm just saying, don't be so stressed out on things that you have absolutely no control over, because a lot of those milestones take into account other people. And you're making these milestones not considering the other person that it takes into account. So I would just say that as my final piece of advice, definitely not the least, I would probably consider that the most important, is that especially women, we have so much stress on ourselves to perform. That's really what it is. We have a lot of stress on ourselves to perform how society wants us to perform, how our grandmama and them, you know, performed, and just these unrealistic expectations. And so from one woman to another, don't stress yourself out over made up timelines. It'll be okay. Nothing bad will happen if you don't make the timeline. It's okay. All right, you guys, so that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed it even a little bit, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified of when I make future videos. And most importantly, if you have made it to the end and you would like to leave some advice in the comments for the girls down below, please make sure that you do so. So as always, I enjoyed making this video. I'll leave you guys with that, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.